everyone, I'm Inshira, second PUC student.
I am Bharat of the NM Sagar College.
Today we have Miss Akhila, an alumnus of our college, who has cleared the Chartered Accountant final exam and become a CA. We wholeheartedly welcome you, ma'am. Thank you for taking the time to give us an interview. So let's start. Tell about yourself, ma'am, like your journey.
CA journey. Okay. So I started my CA journey right after my second PU. I joined for coaching in one of the institutions in Bangalore, and then which was in 2019. The coaching started from April, and then the exam was in November. So it was like a span of 5-6 months before the exam. It wasn't very heavy, but it was something new. It was the same concepts but different perspective of learning. So that period I wouldn't say was very difficult, but since it was the beginning, there was also an element of fear because of the hype that you would have heard about the CA profession or the course. There was an element of fear, but as much as I started preparing, the fear went on reducing. One thing I would say, and I'm very happy about, is my plans have worked throughout the journey. Like till the final, it has been the way I planned. The preparation, execution, and the results were all the way I planned, which may not be the case for many persons. I'm happy for that. I think that is, there is also some luck factor in it. So after foundation, of course, I cleared in my first attempt. And in fact, I got 311 marks out of 400, and 313 was actually an all India rank. So just by 2 marks, I missed an all India rank. But that is not what I had planned for, that is not what I had aimed for. So I wasn't disheartened by it or anything. And then after that was, right after the results, there was coaching started for intermediate. But then I don't know if I should call it a good luck or a bad luck. The classes, because of COVID, all the classes had to be virtual. There weren't any face-to-face classes. It was a little difficult phase because of two things. One thing, in intermediate, the span of time is less and the amount of syllabus is huge. And then I also had to adapt to this change of mode of learning. I was never used to a virtual classes, which is now something everybody is used to. But back then it was some kind of new adaptation with for a huge syllabus. But then because of maybe I should say good one, because there wasn't anything else to do also. It was just, attend the classes, prepare. It was, not even a live class, it was a recorded class. So it also required me, a lot of motivation and discipline to be more accurate, to continue watching the classes. It did feel a little difficult in the beginning, but then, I could get adapted to that type of learning. Like a great person said, change is the only thing that is constant. So adaptation is what something is very much necessary for survival of a human, be it in anything, which was one such situation for me. And then I could get through my intermediate in the first attempt again, and then I joined for agriculture. So here, usually when people get to the intermediate in the first attempt, they look for big fours or something like that, or a bigger forms, because they are looking only, mostly looking for the first attempt cleared articles. But then I wanted to join a mid-sized firm. The only reason, and the reason that I was very clear, was I wanted an experience in all the fields. Because I wanted to see what is in it before choosing what I'm going to do in the long term. Of course, we did learn everything theoretically in intermediate. We knew all the subjects. But then what it is like in practical, I just wanted to experience it. So I chose a mid-sized form, and I got exposure in almost all the fields. So that I could make the decision of what I want to do in the long term. And then my CA final attempt was in November 2023, the first attempt. But then that was also the time when they announced they're going to change the syllabus from the next attempt, and this would be the last attempt in the old syllabus. So the change again, it kind of frightens you. It just scares you so much sometimes. So I just planned in a way that usually the first group of CA final is way more difficult than the second group. So I wanted to get through at least the first group in the November attempt in the old syllabus, and then there's one open book paper in the second group. So if you know how the CA thing works, if you get more than 60 in a paper, it is called an exemption. You don't have to write that paper again. So I planned for an exemption in that paper and to clear off the first group, which by God's grace and my efforts did happen that day. And then, like I said, there was a change of syllabus in the next attempt, which is May 24. They made only, earlier we had 4 papers in each group, they made it 3 papers that we have to attempt. The other 2 were made online, which is called self-paced online modules. So I was basically left with only 2 papers to attend in the May 24, which was kind of lighter for me because I had kind of done the difficult part. This was, of course, until I write the exam and clear it, it is not an assurance. But my confidence, I should say, was very much high at this time. And yeah, I could get, since it was only 2 papers and I had enough time, I could get through it quite easily.
Thank you for sharing about yourself.
Can you please give us a brief explanation about your CA course, like its term, features, significance, and how actually it works?
Okay, the course or the profession?
The course.
The course, the exams, how it is.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll speak about the new scheme since the old scheme wouldn't be of any use. So you have 3 levels again, which was also in the old scheme. You have foundation, intermediate, and CA final. So once right after PU, you are eligible to take up your foundation exams, which will happen 3 times per year. Just this year it has happened in June, but then going ahead it will be in the month of Jan, May, and September. 3 times it will happen 3 times a year. You can take whichever whenever you are comfortable. And then after your foundation, 1 year after your foundation, you are eligible. You are in the foundation, you are eligible to take up your intermediate exams, which presently has 2 groups of 3 subjects each. And after clearing the intermediate, you can either take up both the groups at once or 1 group at a time and the other group in the next attempt. But then if you fail in one subject, let me say the passing criteria in CA, it is 50% in aggregate, but also you should get like at least 40 marks in each subject. So now let's say you appear for 1 group of CA intermediate exam. You score, let's say 55, 54 and 40. So here have you got more than 40 in all the subjects? Yes. But then 55, 54 and 40, how much does that? It is just 1 mark less than 150, right? So you would be failing totally. You would have to take up all the papers again. But then again, similar situation. Let's say you don't cross the aggregate, you don't cross 150, but you get 60 in any paper, then that would be called as an exemption. You don't have to appear only for that subject. So this is how the passing criteria is. In intermediate, if you appear for both the groups, you'll have an advantage of set-off. Like, let's say you get 145 in one group and 155 in the other group, which comes to 300, which is 50% in total. So you'll be through. And then after that, you are introduced for four self-paced online modules. So these papers you can appear for these at your pace, as the name suggests, self-paced. These exams happen throughout the year, so you have mandatory hours of watching the classes. You have four sets, set A, B, C, D. In two of the sets, you have options. You can choose from many available topics, but the other two sets are compulsory. It's company law and other laws, along with costing. So these two are mandatory. The other sets are optional. You'll have basically a set of topics there from which you'll be choosing. So these four online modules you'll have to appear to and clear. This will be a center-based online examination which will be full of MCQs. 50% will be the passing criteria. So if you have 50 questions of 2 marks each, if you happen to get 50, it's a pass. 48, you have to write it again. And you can appear as many times as you want these papers. And then you will be eligible to appear for your final exams, which will be again 2 groups of 3 subjects each. Once that is done, you will be called out to qualified chartered accountant.
Thank you, ma'am. I wish this information will help a lot of CA students.
Many people say that CA is a challenging and difficult course. So, what is the biggest challenge you have faced in your academic journey?
There are quite a few challenges which together look like a bigger challenge, but if I have to name one, like I mentioned, there was a change of syllabus in the CA final. Of course, initially my aim was to appear for both the groups right in the first attempt and get through it. But then I had to make a decision. It was a risk assessment kind of thing. Do I afford to fail both the groups? But then there was also a possibility of getting through both the groups. Or should I take a safer side, just concentrate on one group, but anyways give attempt both the groups. This decision to be made was quite rather very challenging one, because this was based on a contingency, what if. And then I had to just kind of decide something which I thought a lot of times I just thought over it, but then once the decision is made, I did not want to change it. And then the result turns out I actually passed. I passed the first group. In second group, I passed all the subjects except one. I appeared to those papers without preparing for it from very well was, but then I of course studied the day before the exam. I just did not clear one subject. So had I appeared for both the groups, there was a possibility of me getting to it in those, in that very attempt. So, but then again I just, reminded myself I shouldn't look back and regret the decisions. So I would say the part of making this decision and then kind of taking the results. I would have, it's very unlikely that somebody would not want to pass. That moment I felt, had I failed all the subjects of group 2, I would have felt better because I wouldn't have regretted my decision. So this phase, even after the results, although it went as I planned, the subjects I passed, kind of gave me a little bit of sadness. But then which I got through very quickly.
Thank you.
As per my knowledge, a lot of CA aspirants complain that they don't get enough time to manage their college studies as well as the CA. So, how actually did you manage your time during those studies?
Okay, I would say the college, that is the BCom course, with the algebra aspect, it is quite easy. You can, I'll tell what I did. I only studied the day before the exam and I could easily get through it. It is not because the syllabus isn't good enough. It is just that the Bangalore University, it only gives you the questions from, let's say, past 5 years or so much. And by studying them, you can easily get 60 out of 70, which is more than enough. And since my major focus was not BCom, I could just get through it. I would just get the leave on the exam day. In fact, sometimes only half day during the only half day during which the exam is conducted. It was given as a leave because during articleship we'll have lots of work to do. Sometimes we do not get leave. It was very well manageable. Also, there are few subjects which you have in CE, so that will be very easy. The basic level, basic things of what you have in CE will be asked in BCom. Of course, there are other subjects which are not in CE, but it is definitely manageable.
Thank you, ma'am. It was a really remarkable point.
You may have done internships before clearing CA. Can you please elaborate about your internship journey?
Sure. I did my articleship from a mid-sized firm called Akhila Company. When I joined in April 2021, and for the year, all the due dates were moved up. Like there will be due dates for filing the tax returns for different type of people, for individuals and companies, different due dates. All those were moved up because of COVID. Because of the second wave of COVID, all the due dates were moved up to 31st December. In fact, when I joined, again, after 3-4 weeks, if I'm right, there was a lockdown due to the second wave of COVID, and we had to work from home. So I did not get to do much of work in the first 2 months of my articleship, but then once when everything was back and we started going to the office, I have done work in taxation and audit mostly, but I've also direct taxation, that is income tax and statutory audits, but I've also done quite a few works in GST, which is indirect tax, and few other miscellaneous things like FCR, which is Foreign Contribution Regulating Act, and MSME registrations, PFDs, I know small works, the basic works as well. So since in the first year all the due dates were moved, I would say that was a plus point for me because without the pressure of the due date, I got to learn the things very well. There were the first year of articleship is what builds your foundation, right? So that was quite strong. And then in the second year, I was exposed to the bigger clients and much larger companies, which I could handle well because of the foundation being strong. And then in the third year, by the season time, I got my study here. So I did not get to experience the third year of season, but when I went back, yes, so there were few audit works, etc. done, which was again new because of the client that had just come up to my firm and everything. I got exposure in almost all kind of entities, be it manufacturing, trading, service, and even in the type of entities, individuals, firms, companies, AOPs, trusts as well.
Thank you for sharing the valuable information.
The next important question is it doing CA in the present scenario? Is it really worth? Because there are not many other courses like CFA, CMA USA, CPA, which people are preparing nowadays. So, what is your account on this aspect?
Okay, it differs from individual to individual. It is again, based on what your long-term goal is. If you are planning to move out of the country or you are planning to move to a specific country and you want to be employed there or practice there, then you can go to the options like you said, US, CPA or ACCA and things like that. But then in India, presently the most talent out of among these is still CE. And there is a demand as per a survey that I happened to read, I don't remember what survey it is, of at least 20 lakh chartered accountants in the next 6 to 7 years. And there are presently, very, very less as compared to what is required. Like there are only around 2-3 lakhs of chartered accountants. So the demand for CA is definitely there. It is, at least in the near future, it is not going to go down.
Thank you, ma'am. I think it will give a clear idea about this.
As accounting is an important subject, And how do you keep yourself updated to about latest accounting process, ma'am?
You have the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, keeps releasing many e-journals as well as few magazines that will give you few updates about most of the relevant updates. And you can also, it's again not just accounts, it is also like the society sees it. Tax is one of the very important one for a chartered accountant. That again you only get through reading. There are many reliable sources which are for free, but you also have the paid version, subscriptions to a few things. You just have to keep reading the articles and all of those. And when it comes to tax, you will always be notified, because you are surrounded by people like that. You will always be notified when there is an amendment or something. I also follow an online journal, online app called InShots. It is basically for all the news, but then I particularly follow the finance segment. So not only the accounts or the taxation, it also gives the idea of how the businesses are running, how the stock market is working, and all of this. The chart belief is quite important for a professional in finance. Be it any professional in the financial sector, these things will be important.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you so much.
There are a lot of talks among people like a student who is average in mathematics or a student who is average in studies should not prepare to do CA. So, according to you, can an average student aim to become a CA?
That I would say this isn't about CA course isn't about who is bright, who is smart, who is not. It is about the amount of dedication that you offer. It is about the efforts that you are willing to put. If your determination is strong, no matter how well you are at studies or mathematics specifically, you can definitely get into this profession. The only requirement, the most important requirement I would say is your determination should be strong, and you should have the consistency and willingness to put efforts throughout the job.
Thank you, ma'am. I think it will be a sure inspiration to the students.
Now, where do you see yourself after 5 years as a CA?
Well, my plan currently is to get into either a Big Four or a CA firm and then gain more experience, parallelly pursue LLB. I don't know where I see myself in 5 years, but in 10 years I would see myself as a practicing chartered accountant specializing in consultancy, particularly in taxation and government.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for your valuable time and insights. Thank you for being us so today. Also, all the best for your future. Thank you.
Thank you. All the best to you.